Citizens for the Arts. Thank you so much for joining together today as part of MCA's Arts Action Week. Although we're all virtual, I can still feel the energy and excitement coming from each of you. This is the single most important way that you can help the arts, culture, and entertainment community flourish in Minnesota. By advocating for arts funding at Minnesota's capital, you're paving the way for increased funding for theaters and galleries and performances and projects happening in communities in every corner of the state. Arts keeps Main Street alive. Art is a force for economic impact across the state of Minnesota. Art also continues to bring the community together. Art heals communities. Art makes Minnesota a great place to visit. Art makes Minnesota a great place to work. And art makes Minnesota a great place to live. Each economic sector has received support from the state of Minnesota, except arts, culture, and entertainment sector. We know that Minnesota's arts and culture sector was hit disproportionately hard by the pandemic. And we've also learned from the Minneapolis Federal Reserve Bank that the arts and culture sector is taking disproportionately longer to rebound, even longer than the tourism sector. Organizations have had to lay off over half of the arts and culture workers, and arts venues are still struggling to operate at full capacity. Minnesota arts and culture organizations lost $2.2 billion in revenue and laid off 62,000 people. Our key message this year is simple and straightforward. Last week, MCA and our partner sectors, humanities, historical, culture, live entertainment venues, introduced a revised $190 million bill that is inclusive of even more organizations and provides for more equity for small and mid-sized groups. We need the legislature to pass one-time arts, culture, and entertainment funding. The Create Jobs bill will help get Minnesotans back to work in the creative sector in communities across the state. This is the right time and right way to use one-time funds to help a key part of the economy that will benefit the entire state. We also need to ask legislators to continue to protect legacy funding at the 47% that we ask for annually. This legacy funding has become a game changer for the creative sector, which because of inflation has risen to $90 million. This critical funding, which was voted into law by Minnesotans, is a dedicated sales tax allocation that we must always protect and lift up. Minnesota Citizens for the Arts is the nation's largest and strongest arts advocacy organization because of each of you. We have a strong, unified voice that comes together to rally for arts funding. Each conversation you have with your legislators this week helps move us closer to getting funding. We have a team of staff, volunteer leadership, lobbyists, and partners who are here today, and we're all cheering you on. We also have some incredible partners this year. It's our pleasure to join forces this year with MINEVA, the Minnesota Independent Venue Alliance, and the Minnesota Humanities Center. They are working in lockstep with us as we fight hard for this much needed funding for the arts, culture, and entertainment community. Please join me in welcoming Ashley Ryan, Vice President of Marketing for First Ave, and here today representing MINEVA.
Hi, everyone, and thank you, Sarah. We are really excited to be here on the Zoom, here working with you all on some of this, really, really important legislation. The mission of MINEVA, for those of you who don't know, is to preserve and nurture the ecosystem of independent venues and promoters throughout the state of Minnesota. So we really feel like we're just lockstep with the MCA right now. This is just a really great time to be working together. The MINEVA chapter is a part of the larger NEVA organization, which is the National Independent Venue Association. That's the group behind Save Our Stages, the SFOG relief that came through at the federal level. And so we know we have the experience of when we work together and when we activate our fans and our patrons, the lovers of the arts and this industry who support our work, we can make really big things happen. We also know, though, that our organizations were hit really, really hard, and the state has not, really come through with targeted relief for our industry. So we're excited to be here. We're really excited for this week, and we can't wait to see everyone in person. Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you so much, Ashley. Let me also now introduce our lobbyist, Margaret Bessel from Larkin Hoffman. The team at Larkin Hoffman is working at the Capitol with their team of lobbyists, making sure that legislators, party leadership, and the governor's office is aware of our bill and our requests and the needs of the arts and culture community. Please welcome Margaret.
Thank you, Sarah. It's an honor and privilege to be here today with you. Larkin Hoffman has the honor of representing and being your voice at the Minnesota State Capitol. We work hard and tirelessly on your behalf. We also have the good fortune of working with MINEVA's lobbyists now as well. They are a talented group that will just enhance any work that we do. And that's just exactly what lobbyists do. We enhance your voices. You have the message. You are the ones that can deliver that in the best fashion possible. But we're able to help you all kind of direct traffic, if you will. And so this session, we're really looking forward to working with all of you as we move forward together to not only protect legacy funding, but to also pass this great bill that's going to really deliver for the Minnesota arts and culture community. The total bill, as Sarah said, this year is $190 million. We have the good fortune of having the chief authors be the leads, or actually the chairs of the Legacy Committee. It provides some good synergy there. So Representative Leon Lilly, once again, is our bill author in the House, and Senator Fong He is our bill author in the Senate. Again, they're both the chairs of the Legacy Committee, huge art supporters, and when given the opportunity to be the chief authors, they jumped at it. The distribution for this bill is going to be going through the State Arts Board. You might remember last year we had some language that would have allotted Deed the opportunity to be sending the grants out. But after a lot of conversations with legislators and such, we found that the State Arts Board was a better fit for what we were looking for. And so in working with Sue Jens, who's here today with us from the State Arts Board, we have put together a package, and we'll be continuing to work on that throughout the legislative process to make sure it's exactly what we need it to be when it's signed into law. It is based on your 2019 revenues, and it's formulaic. So it's similar to what we had last year based on your revenues. There's also in the bill, there's also $1 million that will go to the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Coalition for audience development. That's a statewide audience development type campaign that's going on. We all know that people just aren't getting back into the seats like we need them to be. And so we're going to try to do something to help that out. There's $1 million in the bill that goes to the regional councils, the RACs, and that's for outreach and diversity initiatives. They're doing a tremendous job within the RACs currently with the diversity and outreach. But this is just hopefully to give them a little bit more of a boost. And then $1 million to Create Minnesota, to research and kind of just figure out what communities need and try to figure out how to meet them where they're at. And so we're going to really look into all of those different obstacles that may exist and get some good data to kind of drive how we may fund the arts into the future. So with that, Sarah, I turn it over to you, and thank you for your time, and really look forward to working with all of you this year.
Thank you, Margaret. Now, please welcome elected officials who felt it was so important to share their support today for this important bipartisan bill.
Hi, greetings from the Minnesota House floor. I'm Leon Lilly. I'm currently the chair of the Legacy Committee in the Minnesota House, and I've been lucky enough to serve on the Legacy Committee since early in when I first began, and now to serve as chair is a great honor. And I'm also the author currently of the Create Jobs bill that hopefully you're going to be advocating for and pushing for to help our venues all over the state of Minnesota that are coming out of COVID, and trying to get people back into the art spaces that we all as Minnesotans enjoy. So I'm excited to see the path of that bill. Currently, if you're following what the Minnesota House is doing, we're really busy. We're full speed ahead. The speaker is quite ambitious, and many bills have already gone to the governor. So I'm sure you see that pretty much daily on the news. And it's been an amazing session, and we're looking forward to continue to do a lot of good work. The speaker herself is very committed to the arts efforts all over the state, and has made that clear to me to do good work as the chair of the committee. And we're so blessed to have a great committee that is also up to the task. And also, quite honestly, it's been a great honor to work with Senator Herr over in the Senate and his team. The arts are so important to Minnesota. With job creation, and there's so many jobs a lot of people don't even know. Of course, the people on the stages, performers like my daughter out singing, but the back of the stage jobs, set workers, on and on and on, is just so important to our economy in Minnesota. And let's be honest, we're all blessed by the work that's done by the arts. Connecting us as neighbors and connecting us as Minnesotans and telling diverse stories all over, and it makes us all better and a healthier state to live in. And Minnesota is really is a great state, and we're so blessed with all the great lakes and parks and trails, and luckily we've had a robust business community. But without a doubt, the gifts that are brought by our artists and our art institutions to our quality of life is so important, and we're so blessed. Thank you for participating, all of you, in Arts Week. Get out and knock on our doors and talk to your legislators all over the state. Need to hear how important legacy funding is, how important this jobs bill is. But and there's also a general fund that's comes out for our art community too, and certainly don't want to forget that, just how important that we do a good job for our arts around the state. And just kind of closing, I want to thank you for participating. And one of my committee members the other day in the committee said, "Art's our life." Representative Finke, and that pretty much sums it up. Again, thank you. I hope you have a great day, and please knock on our doors and help us make arts even stronger in Minnesota. Thank you.
Happy Arts Action Week, everybody. This is House Majority Leader Jamie Long, and I just want to say thank you so much to all of the amazing artists who reside in our community and across the state. I know this brings my family so much joy and so much meaning. In just the last few months alone, we've gone to see art shanty installations on our Lake Harriet in my district. We've gone to see a play at Children's Theater, and we've gone to the Rock the Cradle to see some amazing children's musicians. So this is something that really enriches our lives, and I know enriches the lives of so many other families around the state. So thank you for everything you do. Thanks for being up at the Capitol this week, rallying on behalf of the arts community. I know that I can't imagine a state like Minnesota without as vibrant an arts community as we have. So thank you, and we've got your back. We'll be fighting for strong arts funding this session at the Capitol. Thanks.
Hello, I'm State Senator Carla Nelson from Olmsted and Dodge counties, and I just want to thank you for being here today, for advocating for the arts, for bringing your voice to our beautiful Capitol. We are so blessed to have the Arts and Legacy Amendment in our state, particularly the Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. I am pleased with so many of the empowering, we've been able to empower, develop, and support our artists. I will continue to support you. Thank you for bringing art to your communities. Have a great day.
Happy Arts Week to everyone. My name is Sydney Jordan, and I represent 60A in the Minnesota House of Representatives, which includes the best arts district in the entire world, the Northeast Minneapolis Arts District. 60A and Northeast Minneapolis and Southeast Como are home to hundreds of artists who make our world a more vibrant, joyful, and thoughtful place. Thank you to all of the artists that I represent and all of the artists out there who make our lives better. The legislature can do more to support you, and we will. So thank you for everything you do, and happy Arts Week.
I'm State Representative Dean Erdahl. Welcome to Arts Advocacy Day on the Hill. You are an important part of what makes Minnesota vibrant and special. Art is important to Minnesotans of all ages, as evidenced by the many aspects of art brought to life through the Legacy Amendment. One of my passions has been the restoration of historic buildings, some of which are art treasures. The restored 1900 Opera House in Litchfield has become an important art venue in the community, as has the Chatfield Center for the Arts in Chatfield and across Minnesota with similar venues. Thank you for all that you do to help promote and continue the art fabric that is so important to the state of Minnesota.
Hello, and thank you. As someone whose life continues to be impacted by the arts, I am so grateful for your activism and your advocacy. The role that the arts play in our lives, our culture, our economy, really our whole way of life here in Minnesota cannot be overstated. And if everything we've experienced in these last few years has taught us anything, it's how crucial the things that bring us all together really are. Whether it's a play, a concert, an art exhibition, or even just the guy hanging out on the corner playing the saxophone. And to my mind, the arts are central to that. I know you all know that, or you wouldn't be here. So just keep doing what you're doing and know that I'm just one of many who will always stand with you. Thank you.
Hi, art advocate, State Senator Julia Coleman. I represent Senate District 48, which includes the eastern portion of Carver County. Now, I can barely draw stick people, but from my friends that are artists, I have seen firsthand that it takes grit to do what you're trying to do. And I want to make sure that the state of Minnesota is supportive of the arts community. My district has quite an artistic side. We had prints with Paisley Park. We have street art on some of our buildings, and we have the Chanhassen Dinner Theater, as well as many programs in our schools that are bringing up the next generation of artists. What you're doing takes so much talent and time and discipline, so keep up the hard work, and thanks for your advocacy.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ross Willits, Board Chair of Minnesota Citizens for the Arts and Executive Director of Alive and Kickin'. Welcome to my favorite week of the year. Thank you to all of the senators and representatives who are so strong in their support of the arts in Minnesota. I want to express my deep thanks to the MCA Board and the Advocacy Committee for their amazing commitment to this work and to the arts community across the state. It has been a busy couple of years with leadership transitions, technology transitions, and exciting new partnerships that are making the work of all of us more effective, more inclusive, and more accessible. Sarah and Mark have been working tirelessly on behalf of us all, and the Larkin Hoffman team led by Margaret Vessel is helping us build new relationships with legislators from every corner of the state. And of course, thanks to you, the arts advocates, who volunteer your time to show the depth of this community's commitment to making Minnesota a better place to live for all Minnesotans. With all of us working together, we can truly make a difference in bringing our message of protecting the legacy amendment 47% and supporting the Create Jobs bill, the largest single bill we've ever worked for. Keep the arts strong in Minnesota.
Thank you so much, Ross. As many of you know, MCA is the advocacy arm of the arts ecosystem for the state, and we rely on the Minnesota State Arts Board and the network of 11 regional arts councils to grant arts funding across the state. These individuals and organizations not only connect us to the arts and cultural organizations, but they are also responsible for equitably dispersing the state funds to communities and towns across Minnesota. In every corner of the state, you'll see their work, their good work, and you can see from this list, it's a wonderful group of leaders that we're so excited to work with. With that, I want you to please join me in welcoming Sue Jentz, Executive Director of the Minnesota State Arts Board.
Good morning, Minnesota Arts Advocates. Thank you for being here this week for Minnesota Arts Action Week. Actually, I always refer to this as the Great Minnesota Arts Get Together. This is one of my favorite events of the year, the chance to see all of you in person. Unfortunately, we can't do that today, but I hope I'll see many of you at the rally tomorrow. I know that you're going to bring your energy and your commitment to the arts to those in-person events and also to all of your Zoom meetings this week. Chair Lilly talked about how fast this legislative session is moving. I don't think in all the years I've been at the Arts Board, I've seen a session move as quickly as this. So the committees have to wrap up their work on budget bills in the next few weeks. And that's why the timing of your conversations this week are so important. You'll be talking about this important one-time bill that would invest some of Minnesota's state this historic budget surplus that we have in the arts and creative community, and how important that would be, that boost that we need right at this moment post-COVID, or we hope post-COVID. You'll also be talking about the importance of strong ongoing funding from both the general fund and the legacy fund for the Minnesota State Arts Board and for our regional arts council system. We need those funds so that we can help you do your work every day. You've heard from legislators on both sides of the aisle this morning. Legislators are very supportive of the arts, and they need to know your stories. They need to know about how you're bringing the joy and wonder of arts experiences into their districts. They need to know about how you're helping people of all ages develop their skills and talents, how you're preserving and expressing our cultural traditions, new and existing, and how you're building and strengthening connections to one another and the communities that all of the legislators serve. So on behalf of the Minnesota State Arts Board, our board members and our staff members, thanks for your advocacy work this week. Most importantly, thanks for the work you do every day to make the arts available and accessible to all Minnesota residents and communities.
Thank you so much, Sue. A special thank you to all of our partners, our board of directors and committee leadership, especially our advocacy committee, who really made a lot of this possible strategically as we work together this year at Foot Session. Mark Albers, our operations director at MCA, who with the help of our advocacy coordinator, Ian Vaver, have coordinated over 100 Zoom calls with 400 people from every corner of the state of Minnesota, and Aaron Fitzraditz, who is helping making the Zoom work. Of course, Margaret Vessel, Matthew Bergeron, and the team at Larkin Hoffman have been working hard with our partners at Maneva and the Minnesota Humanities Center. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all of your partnership. Thank you to legislators for taking our meetings, taking our calls, and for being strong supporters of the arts. Thank you, advocates across the state. Thank you to our hundreds of MCA members who come together as advocates all year long and especially make this week possible. With a strong, united voice, we can make life-changing impact in our communities. We can bring back jobs to towns across the state. Marquees can light up our main streets, songs can fill a hall filled with people, and we can get lost enjoying a museum. We can watch our children light up when they see something new, and our minds can wander as we experience something for the first time. Arts brings us together. Arts keeps Main Street alive. You are the key to making this happen. So thank you, thank you. Now let's get this bill passed. This is so important this year. In addition to your work this week meeting with legislators, please join us at our in-person rally tomorrow at 2:30 in the Vault Room. Bring your kids. Some of them are on spring break this week. Bring kids, bring friends, bring family and staff, coworkers, board members, neighbors, as we show that Minnesotans want to fund and protect the quality of life that arts and culture and entertainment provides in Minnesota. How else can you help? You can contribute to our work by becoming a member or making a contribution to help fund our work on your behalf at the Capitol. Visit our website at artsmn.org for more information, and there's very easy to use links. Also, spread the word and follow us on social media and share important messages. Again, let's all continue to spread the word. Let's get this bill passed together and protect legacy funding. Thank you again so much for joining Arts Action Week and for stepping up as an advocate for arts, culture, and entertainment funding this year and every year. Our collective unified voice makes us all so much stronger. Thank you. And for those of you who haven't been an advocate in the past, or if you want a refresher course, stay tuned and we're going to go right into the first time advocate training. Thanks again so much.
Hello, welcome, and thank you for joining us for Arts Action Week. I'm so excited you're here to lend your voice to our efforts at the Capitol. I'm Michael John Pease from the MCA board. I'm going to walk you through what being on a visit with a legislator looks like. Once you're in a legislative visit, there's 3 simple things we want you to do. We want you to reinforce the message of the day. If you can speak to a specific grant or a project that shows the impact of dollars in your district, that's always a bonus. And please remember to stay on message. We're here for one purpose this week. Lending your voice, you can make the struggle real. Offer a story about you or your organization. And if you have a story that demonstrates resilience about how you or your organization are working to reach audience and students, that'll be an important message as well. So now to give you a taste of what this is all really going to look like, I'd like to introduce my fellow players for a mock legislative visit. Thank you, Faye Price, Ross Willits, Tamara Nadell, and Sandy Boren Barrett. I'll be back afterwards so we can have a quick debrief.
Good morning, Senator Price. We are arts advocates from Minnesota Citizens for the Arts, and we really appreciate you taking time out of your busy, busy day to hear what we have to say and to spend some time with us during Arts Action Week. My name is Ross Willits. I'm the team leader of this wonderful group of advocates, and we have a couple of messages that we want to make sure you hear. And then each of the advocates will share some things about themselves.
Thank you so much, Ross. I'm Michael John Peace. I worked in a small rural arts center in a large Twin Cities theater. And with the risks our sector is facing this year, I feel really passionate about our message today. Thank you so much for letting us share it with you, Senator. Our message is a simple one. We need your support of one-time COVID relief funds to help arts and culture across the state. We have sent your office a list of all the state arts grants that have gone to your district, Senator, and my colleagues here have great stories to share. Would you like to say anything before I pass it off to them?
Just simply welcome. It's always a pleasure to have arts advocates here visiting. You are a force. I can only imagine that this has been a difficult year for you, but happy to have you here and would love to hear from all of you.
Thank you, Senator. I'm going to introduce Tamara Nadell from Ronkonkoma Dance Theater.
Senator Price, thanks so much for meeting with us today. I wanted to give you just a little story about how we've been doing this year. As you said, it's a rough year for everybody. For Ronkonkoma, we've had about 25% of our operating budget cut just from performances that needed to be canceled due to physical distancing regulations. But, you know, like so many of us in the community, we haven't given up. We've transferred a lot of our work to digital platforms. We've been doing live stream performances and artist talks that connect directly with people in their homes to build empathy and build community and offer resilience and joy and hope and connection in a time when there's so much isolation and anxiety. And we've been able to reach more than 94,000 people through our free digital season this year. But of course, that doesn't bring in incomes. So we have really been relying on our community to support us. And the Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the General Arts Fund are such a huge part of that. We've had people tell us that our work is a balm in a bizarre and tragic time. That's a quote from someone. So thank you so much for hearing us today, and thank you for your past support, and we hope you will continue that in the future.
Thank you for the work you do.
Thank you.
Sandy Boren Barrett from Stages Theater, would you like to speak?
I would love to. Thank you for letting us come and visit you today. It's not the same as walking around the Capitol, but nothing is the same. It's a grand day when we can all walk around and visit with each other and with all of our constituents. And we appreciate you taking the time for us. I work at a theater that serves young audiences. And in this time, theater and the arts is actually been an important part of their life, even virtually. We have considered what we're offering these young people as essential. We are essential workers providing arts activities for families who are at home struggling. They're teaching their kids from home. They need opportunities for their kids to experience the joy the arts bring and to take classes online. We have young people who this is so ingrained in who they are as young people that we have stayed open regardless of the fact that it makes no economic sense at all. We continue to provide opportunities for our families and young people because it's important. It's important to them and their mental health. It's important to the teachers that are needing support and virtual field trips. And we are able to do so because of the support we get from the legislature. And I am hopeful that you see the impact that we make as artists and as educators in the field for young people and their families. And we appreciate all the support you've given us in the past. And we look forward to coming back stronger and being the fuel to the economy that the arts are.
Well, you're all doing great work. Who could have predicted that we would be in this place? I love the way that all of you have, to use an oft-used word, pivoted to doing your work online. I do sometimes have a concern about those people that don't have access to computers, and if indeed the arts are so important, what can you do about reaching them? But it's really good to see you all and to hear what you're doing. Again, I can certainly appreciate what a tough year it's been. And hopefully we can continue this funding. I know that I will be doing what I can to continue the funding, and I hope that we have enough support so that all of the funding continues to reach you and the wonderful work that you do. So thank you.
Thank you, Senator. And I just want to say before we go that I really believe that the arts are going to be essential as part of building back after COVID. I've heard from hospitality folks, the restaurant folks, the event folks, that they don't feel ready to open fully until there are arts events that can bring the people to downtowns, to other places. And so a part of having a new thriving economy for all of the industries that have been hurt by COVID, the arts are going to be central and to getting people back together and getting them out. And that's so vital, especially as we come back out of this. And it's going to have an enormous impact across the entire state's economy.
I agree. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Good to meet you
so
all.
much for your time.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So what did you think of that? Hopefully it wasn't totally terrifying. Here's some takeaways from my perspective, having been in many legislative visits, that I saw in this one. The team leader really managed the meeting. Our team leaders are experienced with talking to legislators, no matter the forum, and in keeping the message on track. So you can relax. I loved how Tamara was able to share an impressive number of how many people her organizations reached and an audience story. That's just a magic combination. So if you've got one or the other or both of those, man, we're glad you're here. I love how Sandy underscored that their online programs make no financial sense, which really emphasizes the need and value of public funding and the fact that the arts give back to Minnesotans. And Ross was very clear about the message of the day. So good luck with your legislative visits. And if you've got questions this week, email your questions to mark@artsmn.org. Thank you so much for being part of Arts Action Week. I know we're going to do great. Thank you.
I hope that was a helpful video for everyone who is having meetings with their legislators this week. I just wanted to ask if there were any quick questions in the chat. You can go ahead and post any quick questions. Again, we've really covered the message of the day. Remember that this bill, the Create Jobs bill, is all about creating and getting creating jobs and getting Minnesotans back to work. The meetings that you're going to have, Autumn, I see your question in the chat. They are groups of advocates. So everyone who has signed up in your district is going to meet together. So you'll most likely have a few people in your room. Is there still a need for more people to sign up for legislative meetings? Lily asks, if you haven't already signed up, please do so. We absolutely need the more the merrier. We need these meetings to be full of advocates from every legislative district. Margot asked, how do we know who team leaders are for our visits? They will introduce themselves, Margot, and they will make it known. They will also be leading the meeting. So they're the ones who will help you navigate that meeting really smoothly. Are they all via Zoom? Yes, Autumn, most of the meetings are via Zoom. It makes it much easier for people around the state to participate when they can all hop on Zoom. Also, getting 15 minutes of time with legislators is much easier when they're able to just hop on a Zoom call. Any other quick questions before we wrap up and get this week off to a really busy, fun start? Is this recorded? Yes, this is recorded, Catherine. So yes, there will be a post. It is live on Instagram and Facebook. And so I think it will also be available there as well. Can you bring cameras into the Capitol? Absolutely. If we're scheduled for a Zoom, should we expect that each individual be able to speak? Absolutely, Carrie. We are limited to 15 minutes per legislator. Sometimes they go long if the legislator has time and has more to speak, has more time to meet. But I would work on really condensing your message and making it really precise. Like talk about how your individual arts organization or how your community has directly benefited from specific arts in your district. In your community, in your town. So make sure your message is concise and easy for them to bring along with them. Is there a list of jobs that can be passed? I'm going to need a little more clarification on that, Judy. For the rally, will it be outside again? Dana, I wish it could be outside. Unfortunately, we're inside. It's just a little too chilly. We're going to be in the vault room or the Le Toit du Nord room. And it's a great space for us to rally and come together. And it's much warmer than our unpredictable Minnesota weather. And, if you don't want to talk to legislators in your meetings, that's okay too. You can always just introduce yourself. Some meetings are quite large, and we ask that people just post things in the chat so that we can follow up afterwards. But don't feel pressured to talk during the meetings if you're not comfortable. Just let your team leader know that. Again, it's available on our YouTube channel as well as Facebook. So if you want, you can also view all of this on our YouTube channel, which is Minnesota Citizens for the Arts. And yes, the links for the chat, Jess, will make sure that those also get out. You should have received the meeting Zooms in a previous email. Connie, hi Connie. Do you think any of the legislators will be at the rally tomorrow? A lot of legislators will. They will come and greet us. We also ask that people reach out and see if their legislator is willing to come down and meet them at the rally. But yes, we always end up with a host of legislators who want to come and greet everyone. How arty do people dress up for meeting at the Capitol? Deb, I think that might be my favorite question of all time. I always recommend wearing purple since it's kind of the blue and red coming together, both sides of the aisle. You can feel free to dress up as artly as you would like. I think if anything, we should be able to express ourselves and dress really fun for this day. With the Judy asked, with the create jobs, what would the jobs be or kinds of jobs? So this is, it's really an operational support. It's operational support funding. What we heard when we polled arts and culture organizations, we heard overwhelmingly that people really needed to staff back up. They had lost so many people. That we are drawing that conclusion that a lot of this funding will go towards hiring back necessary staff. We know that ticket sales have been sluggish, and that's such a big part, up to 40% of a lot of organizations' budgets. And so we're not monitoring exactly how you're using the money to hire individuals back. But again, we've heard overwhelmingly that people are using it to hire back some of the staff that were lost during the pandemic. Hi, Scott Pollock. Will team leads get the list of attendees at each session before the session? Yes, I see Mark has already answered. The attendee list you should have gotten. He will send it to you again as team leader. if our email said the meetings were still being scheduled, when should we expect to hear back? So that question is always hard to predict. So when we get someone who is registering for a session, that is what, if you're the first person who is registered in that district, then that kind of triggers us to then go and reach out to that senator or that representative to schedule the meeting. So we're a little bit beholden to when they get back to us, and their availability. And so as soon as we hear back from them, then you'll get that answer as to what time you're going to be able to meet with them. So again, the meetings take place over the whole course of the week. As soon as they're scheduled, you will absolutely get you'll get that information. Any other questions? Would it be appropriate to discuss what other funders could do to ensure? No, I would say that it is, I think, Dell, I'm just looking at your message. Would it be appropriate to discuss what state, municipal, and other public funders need to do? You know, at this point, when you're meeting with the legislators, it's really important to stay on message and talk directly about what they can do to help. And that is supporting those two specific areas, the Create Jobs bill and the protecting legacy funding. So it's really important to keep our message on point. That way too, it doesn't kind of spring any surprises on the legislators, which they appreciate, and it makes them easier to support the work that we're asking them to do. So this is a time to get them on board, to really stay on point, and to keep our message unified and strong. All right, are there any other questions before we wrap up? Just wondering who chooses what the MCA fiscal ask breakdown and how the financial breakdown was decided. So what this ends up being, Pete, is well, it's kind of a year-long discussion with legislators, with our arts organizations across the state. This really culminates from all kinds of work happening in the field throughout the year. And so when we go through and ask, you know, what is important to see, what do legislators want to fund, what does the field need, what does the arts ecosystem need, this is how we come to decide how that breakdown happens. When we heard about audience development needed and getting people back into theater, that Minnesota Arts and Culture Coalition is working on audience development. So they're working on a statewide initiative with Padilla. And it's something that everyone can participate in, every arts organization that can kind of return to the theater. So that's how we got to that. The State Arts Board, or the regional arts councils, and the Minnesota, or Creative Minnesota rather, what we heard overwhelmingly too was that we need to do a better job of identifying and reaching out to more diverse audiences. And so that's what some of that that's what that allocation is going to go through. So again, this is kind of it's kind of a long answer, but what we do is, as you know, talking with individuals, polling and getting information from membership and from arts organizations year round, and then working with legislators on what they've been hearing from their district, what they're able to and willing to fund, and how to do our best shot at helping as many people as possible. And that's why so much of our work goes towards organizations who can then hire artists, who can then, again, impact as many people as possible. This specific Create Jobs bill this year is going to help over 1,500 organizations. So there's a little overview kind of how this happens. Is there any group who's advocating for arts education with the legislature? Yes, that is something that we also do. It is not something that this year is one of our top 2 asks of the legislature, but this is absolutely something we're working on. In fact, we work with the Department of Education quite a bit on research and getting information on on what schools are providing arts education and some of those details. So that is a part of our work behind the scenes, not necessarily just on not necessarily on Advocacy Week, but as we work year round, that's something that we're absolutely involved in. Erin, hi Erin. What is needed to make sure that this bill gets a vote rather than being shelved? Showing up. I mean, the amount of people that advocate for this, the amount of pressure put on leadership and your legislator is what moves the needle. So it is so important that we get as many people possible activated as we get this work going. So stay in touch with our website, watch our emails. We're going to have a lot of other requests to send notes to leadership. The biggest thing that we need to do is make our voices heard. We need to be strategic. We need to be a unified voice. And we need to get as many people together to advocate for that as possible. Oh, thank you, Mark. Here's our work that we do with Perpich on the school district, on making school districts compliant. So you can view that on the link that Mark just shared. All right, we're coming up on 11 o'clock. Are there any other questions? This has been, these are really great questions, everyone. I appreciate how engaged and thoughtful you all are in advocating for the arts. Again, what we heard last year is overwhelmingly that jobs are important to both sides of the aisle and for towns and communities across Minnesota. So when you're talking today, or when you're talking this week to your legislators, make sure that you are meeting with your legislators and talking about how when hospitals are hiring, when teachers are getting hired, when tech workers are being hired, the most important part of hiring people in any community is quality of life. And that is something that the arts, culture, and entertainment community provides. We provide the quality of life needed to hire in every sector across the state. And so please enjoy your meetings, have fun, and thank you for all this advocating. Again, the meetings are group meetings, they're not one-on-one. So there's no need to be worried. The legislators are just people like us. And I really think that you're going to have a great time getting to know both your legislator and some of the other people in the arts and culture community. Continue to spread the word. And thank you so much for joining today. And with that, and no more questions, I just want to say thank you. And it's good to see you all. I can't wait to see you tomorrow up at the Capitol. We're inside where it's nice and toasty. We're going to have some fun food and treats and things. So if anything, come for the food and say hi to all of us. So thank you. I look forward to seeing you in person tomorrow. Have great meetings. Thank you so much.